Guys, this is Reasons14 for BlackChipPoker.com, and today I'm going to be going over my, personal early range starting hand requirements for these lower stake SitnGos I have up. Notice in the left side I have 100 VIP point SitnGos, and for those of you who really want to take advantage of the store that Black Chip has to offer, you could get everything from like champagne to iPods and things like that. These are a great way to get a little bit more VIP points because it pays out VIP points. I found that people are generally a little bit looser with their range, and the cool thing about this structure that I don't think a lot of people realize, and you guys could definitely take something from this, but notice how first and second get roughly the same amount, so chips aren't quite as important in a like a top heavy payout structure, maybe like the super turbos that can be found where the payout structure is 70-30. Right here it's pretty much split like 52-48 or 50-50. So chips aren't quite as worth it just because of the fact that the 10 chips could essentially be worth the same thing as 2,000 chips. Just a slight minor difference. So we don't necessarily want to be playing a really wide range of hands to start off at, and once we do get a stack, we could pretty much just sit on it and let other players make mistakes and knock each other out. So here on the top left, I did limp ace deuce. As you see, there's quite a few players who are deep to my left, so I do have a lot of implied odds from them. Now, I'm not super comfortable with my ace right here because I don't want to get into a situation where I'm just going to get value town by a better ace. So although I do have top pair, I'm going to proceed with caution. I might call probably not even call a bet from this guy, especially after this guy called. Once this guy calls right here, I virtually have to put the rest of my stack in. Although I do think if the player had an ace, he probably would have just shoved. The fact that this player is making it full pot, I do think he has probably a pretty decent ace. And then also, I really don't like how I'm sandwiched right here between the small blind who gets to act right after me if I were to call. So I'm going to go ahead and make a sort of tight fold right there. Hopefully I'm okay. But anyway, so onto the prize pool. Looks like my ace was good. Onto the prize pool. So as I mentioned, it's not as worth to play a wide range in these two 100-point VIP SitnGos. But okay, so I did make a good fold on the flop. Now on these bounty SitnGos, notice how the buy-in is $2, but we go to the prize pool, and notice how $1 gets paid to the person whenever you knock someone else out. Like if you're playing in a live casino, we'd all have like a bounty chip or something like that, and you just throw it to the player if he knocks you out. So unlike these 100-point VIP SitnGos to the left, there is a lot of immediate equity to be had by just playing hands versus people, because you could potentially win $1, which is half the buy-in, which is pretty decent. So that allows us to play a lot wider range of hands. So for those who like to play, a little bit more flops, you might like the bounty SitnGos a little bit more. I don't really have any showdown value with the 10 high, and it's been checked to him, so I'm going to go ahead and maybe make like a smallish overbet. I find that usually warrants a lot of folds with hands that aren't really better than a pair. So the best thing he could have right here is something like queen high plus. I think I get that to fold a decent amount of time whenever I do make it an overbet. So 5-4 offsuit. I'm going to go ahead and fold right here. Under the gun in these 6 max games, we could be raising with a lot of our mid to upper pocket pairs. I might suggest raising with our smaller ones too, just to blend our range a little bit, so you could say. And middle position, we could start to maybe open up like a 9-10 suited in these bounty SitnGos. I'd probably still be folding 9-10 offsuit in these 100-point VIP SitnGos, but it really just depends. So king 10 right here, I'm going to go ahead and fold because I'm going into a short stack, and there's 2 bigger stacks to the left of me who could put a lot of pressure on me if they do decide to re-raise me. Notice how this player on the left has a 3-bet percentage right here of 25%. So I don't really want to be opening that wide of a range unless I do expect a call. One thing I might take into consideration is the fact that I've been very, very tight, so therefore my image is going to be good, and I'm going to have more fold equity. So that is an argument for me making some looser opens. Anyways, so back to these, let's fold right here. Bounty SitnGos. When it folds around to me on the button, I'm going to be opening up like a lot of my suited aces. I might be folding things like A6 and A7 offsuit. This could be, we like to call reverse implied odd type hands where we could get ourselves into just really bad situations and just get value town by a better ace. So notice here how I'm still continuing to play a little bit tight. Just given that there's these really two loose players, I'm going to want to play a little bit of a tighter hand range because I'm a lot more likely to get value from it. As I loosen up, I could probably play more of like a mid, a somewhat loose range because I have such a tight image. But as I start playing more hands, I'm gonna have to increase the value of my starting range because of the fact that they're gonna be playing back against me. Down here in the bottom left, just notice how I already have 3,000 chips. I doubled up early on before I started this video, so I don't really need to be playing that many hands. Okay, so up here on the top left, I have been very, very tight. So I'm going to go ahead and take a little stab at this flop with my deuce 7 offsuit. And this is because, again, like the situation here on the right where I had 10 high, I have a little showdown value right here because I'm probably not going to win the pot with a 7 high. So in situations where villains are really unlikely to hit the flop, I like to attack those weak pots that I think are going to be easily able to steal. So pocket 8's right here. I might end up just shoving right here just because I don't want to raise into these other stacks. It's really awkward stack sizes. So it's really just depending. Now this guy shoves. He hasn't shoved before. I don't really think I'd be folding 8s four-handed though versus a 11 big blind shove. So I'm going to go ahead and get it in. So again, in these SitnGos on the right, the bounty SitnGos, we're going to be playing like a lot more suited connected, type hands early on. Hands that have a lot of implied odds, so we could possibly get that, the bounty chip. But here on the left, it's not just quite as necessary. I'm going to go ahead and go for a little small raise pre-flop with this Queen Jack since this player is playing a very wide range. He's playing 45% of his hands, and I think Queen Jack is ahead of that pre-flop. So now with the Queens, I'm going to go ahead and bump these up. And the ace is a pretty scary card, so I'm going to go ahead and check, as I will often do with second pair. And as he checks again, I'm going to go ahead and get value. If he has anything, I'm probably, have his range, given that he checked the flop and the turn. So I'm going to go ahead and lead out for about 165. Now, given this three-way pot, I'm going to just go ahead and check. If this player here on my left just decides to shove, I'm going to go ahead and call. If this player makes a sizable bet like with like 500 or so, I'd probably reconsider. Not the best situation for me. I'm just going to go ahead and fold. If it was a heads-up pot, I probably would have definitely called, but given that's multi-way and I'm sandwiched, plus the fact that he is betting into a short stack, which means he's getting called a lot more. So I think he's likely to have a better hand in that particular situation. So if this player donks out here, I'm probably going to just fold. If he limps versus me again, I might decide to raise if I have something with some decent post-flop playability. King 7, just going to go ahead and fold right here. Jack 7 or Jack 6, nothing I want to play really. Versus a raise, Ace 3, going to go ahead and fold. Notice how this player has been only raising about 10% of his hands, so he's not, he is playing pretty passive, but we're seeing a lot more limps than he is raising, so we just need to be mindful of that. So if you guys have a hard time finding these SitnGos, really briefly, just go to SitnGo, all, and then go to the filter and just click empty, low, short-handed, no limit. That's how I found them. 9-10, again, I'm just going to go ahead and fold. The reason why I am playing so tight is this player to my left is playing a really wide range of hands, and he's also playing versus someone who could knock him out. So if this player was a knockout, my equity would increase by a lot. And I'm just going to let that happen. If these guys are going to continue to pay me off whenever I have decent hands, I'm going to go ahead and do so until I get really, really short and it gets to push-fold mode. So I do like this flop a decent amount. Hopefully, okay. So versus the 100, I'm still definitely calling. There's really not a lot of value in raising because I'm not getting called by a hand that I beat most of the time. depending on what this button does. Let's see. So again, I'm going to go ahead and go for a small little raise here with king, queen offsuit. Definitely when I have a decent hand in position, I'm going to bump it up for value. I like to, you know, blow the pot in position with a decent hand and just try and play tight and smaller pots out position. I'm sure you guys already know that. So giving this guy's raise, just because of the structure of the tournament, I'm going to go ahead and fold here. Even though both of our lines look very, very weak, I just don't feel really the need to get involved all that much. Go ahead and fold here. 25 chips, easy call. Be completing with just about any ace right there. So the nines, I am going to go ahead and shove. As you know, again, I don't want to get in these really gross situations with this player to my left. And because of the dryness of this board, I'm not going to bet out. Just because it's just a lot more unlikely to have straight draws or flush draws. So usually I'll be checking the flop and then trying to get value on the turn. But because this player bet the flop, I'm going to go ahead and check call here again and just hopefully let him barrel himself off. Maybe if he has like a pair of nines. And so he bet 200. If he bets another sizable amount on the river, or if he just shoves, actually, so. Okay, I think he has two pair a lot, or he could have. I do think he has two pair a lot. If he has a straight draw, if he has a straight, I'm going to be paying him off anyway. So I'm just going to go ahead and bet like 4 and 50 and try and get called by a lot of other two pairs. So notice right here on this paired board, 4, 4, 5, how I did. Oh man, good luck us. All right, so yeah. The nuts, going to pay him off regardless. So anyways, notice on that paired board 4, 4, 5 how player limp versus me blind versus blind led the flop. He's already done that 2 previous times, so I'm just going to use my read in saying that he probably has something very weak right there, and also considering that players are not going to hit the flop, 66% of the time. And we also do have a bubble factor going on because there's a player that's shorter than him, so he really can't risk, the equity to make like a loose call right there. So here's an obvious call with queen 9. Hopefully we hold and ship $1. So pretty much here I just have to be sitting on my stack, but before it gets too late in the video, I'm going to shut it off and maybe we could go over some late game scenarios in the next video. So this is Reasons14 for blackchippoker.com. If you see me at the tables, give me a holler, and good luck.